Mori-o-cho, radio. Good morning, my fellow Americans. It is March 18th, 1943. We have had urgent news and quite an interesting story for everyone turning in today. The war still lives on as Germany recouped and taken over much more land than we had expected. So much, in fact, that they have been trying out to move for Russia, even though they have been faking their neutral ground to annoy the United Kingdom. For over a year, German soldiers have been going through the lands of winter to try and overwhelm them with devastating artillery strikes and armadas of planes that rained down shrapnel on the Russians' backs after hearing humming sounds coming from above. Overall, in a simplified call of their battle is that the Germans had gone for a three-way fork in the road for Leningrad, Moscow, and Stalingrad. The Germans took a pretty firm and strong march there, obliterating the mixed civilians and army for the first 3 days, but after a while it turned out that the Russians caught cold winds of the Germans coming their way and proceeded to either fight back for their lives in motherland or flee back to their commanders. There has been said to have a massive civilian loss, executions of retreating soldiers by their own commanders, and even alleged cannibalism for the Russians. Once winter came for the Germans, they were not accustomed to it, and they had been led back into a deprivation of supplies such as ammunition, food, and water. The Russians had poisoned wells and poured petrol upon farmland while retreating to not give any usage for Germans. Even though comrades were lost over the 5 months of bombing and fierce house-to-house combat, the Russians came out on top by the Volga and their blue fumed, puffing T-34 tanks. And to have won the battle, Russians must be quite awfully powerful. Prisoners of war seem to be from both sides, as Germans got the upper sneaky hand from the start, and the Russians of the home ground turned to crumbled rubble, got to have the last few German forces left to surrender. The fight may be incredibly known as the Bloody Fight, racking up 2 million casualties all around for both sides. For Russia to push Germans back into Berlin and win against Germany for the first time, this may be a humongous turning point for a new menacing power to be arisen amongst the lands. On the Eastern Front, snipers were pros, experts being placed behind fallen buildings and broken machinery, picking off unsuspecting soldiers and perhaps civilians from rooftops and windows, hiding their optical scopes so they wouldn't shine in the sun and reflect, giving away their positions. An example of a master sniper is Vasily Zaitsev. Born into a farm family, growing up hunting wolves in the snow with his father and younger brother, he joined the Red Army in 1937. On the front line being sergeant major, while in the 62nd Army, he achieved 225 verified enemy kills in 7 days, with 11 of them being including to be enemy snipers. A highly notable fight he had was against Major Koenig, Germany's headmaster of Berlin's sniping school, where he was on the hunt for Zaitsev. A journalist following Zaitsev stood up to look out for the nemesis given name by a German prisoner of war, saying that they were surely to be dead since he was out on the field looking for them. The journalist saw it and pointed out the sniper, but he was instantly shot dead. Zaitsev's partner, Kulikov, was left with him. He raised his helmet by his hand to lure Koenig to shoot, and he did exactly that. Thinking that he killed the Soviet Union's best sniper, unstoppable sniper, Zaitsev had shot the fool behind a grooved sheet of metal, having his helmet peeked out just by a notch. Even women had joined up to be snipers, such as Tatiana Chernova, who had her parents killed by Germans when she went to warn them of their incoming march towards them. She joined the Russian resistance and was trained by Vasily Zaitsev to be a sniper, going through the sewers to be at her post, getting 24 confirmed kills, but stepped on a landmine, injuring her to retirement. The snipers were great for the battle, as many people joined in defense, inspiring others to join in comradeship, giving them the stand and fighting spirit to protect the motherland.